In 2008, FBI agents lured a wanted man out of his apartment with a lie about a sinking boat. When they finally identified him, they didn't just uncover a con man who'd spent decades posing as a Rockefeller. They uncovered a killer who'd been hiding in plain sight since 1985. In 1978, a teenager arrived in the United States from Germany. His name was Christian Gerhartsreiter. Within a few years, that name would disappear. And it wouldn't be the last one he left behind. He called himself Christopher Gerhardt, then Christopher Chichester. He claimed to be a British aristocrat, a film producer, even the 13th Baronet of England. None of it was true. By the early 1980s, he was renting a guest house in San Marino, California, from an elderly widow named Ruth Sohus. Her son, John, and his new wife, Linda, lived on the same property. They had no idea who their neighbor really was. In 1985, John and Linda told friends they were leaving for New York, chasing a secret job offer. They never came back. Postcards arrived, supposedly from Linda, postmarked Paris. But neither John nor Linda had a passport. There's no record either of them ever left the country. Around the same time, Chichester vanished too. He drove off in the Sohus' own truck. Sohus was left behind, believing her son had simply abandoned her. She had recently cut him out of her will. He resurfaced in Greenwich, Connecticut, calling himself Christopher Crowe, a television director, he said, a Wall Street bond trader. He used a fake Social Security number to get the job, one that, by coincidence, belonged to a convicted serial killer. By the early 1990s, he'd reinvented himself again, this time in New York City. His new name, Clark Rockefeller, an heir, he claimed, to one of America's wealthiest families. In 1995, he married Sandra Boss, a highly successful executive, in a Quaker ceremony. She later testified she believed every word he told her. They had a daughter. They lived in a Boston townhouse, an estate in New Hampshire. All of it funded entirely by her income, while he played the eccentric art collector with a fortune that never actually existed. By 2006, the marriage was falling apart. Sandra Boss hired a private investigator during their divorce. Nothing about her husband's story checked out. Then, in the summer of 2008, during a supervised custody visit in Boston, he abducted their 7-year-old daughter. A national manhunt began. FBI agents eventually traced him to Baltimore, living under yet another name, Chip Smith. They lured him out of his apartment with a phone call, a lie about his boat taking on water at the marina. It worked, but the manhunt did something else too. His face was suddenly everywhere, on the news, on wanted posters. And in California, people who once knew a man called Christopher Chichester started making phone calls of their own. Investigators connected the aliases, one by one. Chichester, Crowe, Rockefeller, Chip Smith. They were all the same man. The case of John and Linda Sohus, dormant since human remains were discovered buried in that San Marino backyard back in 1994, was reopened. In 2011, DNA testing finally confirmed what investigators suspected. The remains were John Sohus. His skull had been found wrapped in plastic bags from 2 schools Gerhartsreiter had once attended. In 2013, a jury convicted him of first-degree murder. The case was built entirely on circumstantial evidence. No witnesses, no confession, no motive was ever proven. He was sentenced to 27 years to life. Linda Sohus has never been found. For nearly 30 years, a family had no answers. A mother believed her son had abandoned her. A sister waited for news that never fully came. The man responsible spent those same years reinventing himself, again and again, always one step ahead, until a single lie about a kidnapping brought the whole facade down. If this case surprised you, let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this one,
hit subscribe. There's a lot more hiding behind closed doors.